After a little over 5 years away from our TV screens, Young Justice came roaring back to life this week on the DC Universe app with the release of its long-awaited third season, subtitled Outsiders. And oh boy, do our empty cups runneth over as a fan base, because we didn't get just one new episode to start. Oh no, we got a whopping 3 episodes, and I'm gonna cover them all here and give my initial thoughts for you right now. The first episode was entitled Prince is All, and much like the first episode of Season 2, we jump forward in time a number of years. I know this time jump stuff threw off a lot of non-comic reading fans when they did it the first time around. I'm used to this kind of storytelling tactic, and I think more people were on board this time. The makeup of our super teams have changed a lot. Miss Martian now leads the Young Justice Squad from the Justice League Watchtower, and oh hey, would you look at that, she's now choosing to live out and proud as a white Martian. Well, okay, not 100% as a white Martian. She kind of toned down the horrifying xenomorph thing for a little bit, but good for her. There's also a bunch of brand new heroes on deck too, and you can bet as a longtime Green Arrow fan, I was super stoked to see Maya Dearden Arrowette, and I hope she gets some focus episodes this season. Picking up from where the last season left off, Vandal Savage and his agents had kickstarted a metahuman arms race on Earth that is now spilling out into space thanks to Darkseid and Apocalypse. Of course, our heroes don't know that yet. During a battle on Rand, Black Lightning ends up accidentally killing one of these new metas, who turns out to be a trafficked teenage girl. Obviously, this hits Jefferson super hard, as he is a father with 2 daughters of his very own and a principal when he's not being a superhero. This is the first of what will actually be several more mature turns Young Justice Season 3 takes. However, unlike some other shows in the genre that shall remain nameless, when the more bloody death and implied torture stuff actually does happen, it feels earned, but more than that, it actually feels like a natural evolution of the series and not an attempt to shock or be edgy just for the sake of it. After all, most of our cast are literally not kids anymore, and they're facing more adult complex issues than ever before. Black Lightning, as any comic fan will tell you, is one of the most important members of the super team called the Outsiders, and I mean, hey, it's right there in the season's subtitle, so I feel Jefferson will be the focal point of many stories moving forward, much like Red Tornado was in Season 1 and Blue Beetle was in Season 2. Jefferson, distraught and despondent over what happened in space, wants to leave the League, but he picks probably the worst time to do so, as the group of heroes is getting it from all sides right now thanks to Lex Luthor's new governmental job. Batman figures if he's going to be treated like an outlaw and a vigilante anyway, then he's just going to try and stop playing the rigged game and go out on his own. But, in classic Batman fashion, he just can't forward his 2 weeks' notice. He has to leave and abscond with a handful of other heroes who are also feeling pretty dejected by how things are going on right now. Why, we even get a cute little crack about Batman Incorporated, and this serves as a chance to showcase a bunch of the other new heroes who we're probably going to be dealing with this season, including friggin' Hardware? Really? Whoa, should he and Static even be here right now? Last time I checked, the Duffy Estate and DC Comics were suing each other. Apparently, heroes going off the reservation is nothing new for the extended Bat family, because Nightwing has also left his colorful costumed ways behind in order to fight the metahuman traffickers all on his own, up close and personal, helped out only by Oracle. Oh, whoa. Batgirl was supposed to be the leader of Alpha Team when Season 2 ended, but now she's Oracle? Did that mean Killing Joke happened in the missing 5 years? The plot thickens even more so because in the second episode, The Royal We, Dick actually goes out of his way to lie to the rest of his team about Oracle helping him out. Now, at the center of all this new metahuman trafficking is the country of Markovia, home to Prince Byron Markov, who, if you know your comic books, will already know becomes the hero Geoforce, who, why yes, is also a founding member of the Outsiders. Bryon is spurred into action after his parents, the king and queen, are assassinated for vowing to stamp out metahuman trafficking within their country and to open up their borders to Karaki refugees facing the tyranny of Queen Bee and Bialya. And if that sounds like some ripped from the headlines, totally topical stuff, you are right. And hey, speaking of Karak, the other new character introduced this episode is Halo, and she's probably the most reimagined from her comic book counterpart. Now no longer an American woman joined with an ancient energy spirit, now she's a mute Karaki refugee with healing, shield powers, and probably a lot more powers. I'm fine with this change. Young Justice has done a lot of great work reimagining characters, and Halo was in desperate need of one. It's probably the reason she's not being featured in the brand new Outsiders comic book, which, come to think of it, was probably supposed to release around the same time as this so they could link up together. Eventually, the heroes discover that Count Vertigo has his hands in the meta-kidnapping ring and that he might also be trying to start a war between Markovia and his own home nation, while also furthering the goals of Vandal Savage and the Light. This means the not-so-young-anymore Justice Team must join forces with their new friends to overcome the bad guys and save the day. I must say, I like Geoforce's Rockman costume. It's a big improvement over his comic counterpart, where, and to be honest, he was probably one of the worst-dressed dudes in DC for a very long time. The real emotional weight, though, is carried by Black Lightning. He has to come to terms with what he did while also dealing with a psychosomatic loss of powers, which he does by the end of this three-parter, but it's made very clear that his arc is far from over. And so that was the first 3 episodes of Young Justice Season 3, and I gotta say, I like what I saw, even if I had some minor complaints here and there. The voice cast is as good as they've ever been, Carrie Payton especially being on point as both Calder and Jefferson, which yes means he talks to himself a fair amount this episode. The writing is still sharp as ever, growing with its audience and even weaving in some topical threads that I really didn't expect. There's plenty of mystery about what happened during the missing 5 years and why so many team members are different now and how some have even drifted away from being heroes like Beast Boy. On the animation front, it's fine, but certainly not the same. While many of the animators from the first 2 seasons return, for the most part this is a brand new studio handling things with a lot of brand new in-between frames that, if you're like me, are probably gonna throw you for a loop and are probably gonna take some getting used to. Hopefully as the show moves on they get a better handle on the material. Redesigns are another thing that's gonna be hit and miss for you. I know it was for me. I thought Green Arrow's new suit actually looked great. I don't know why they felt the need to change Batman and Superman to make them drop the trunks when they made a big deal about them getting back in the comics. Same goes for Wonder Woman, who got a bit of a movie makeover but with no real story reason as to why. This is also a weird thing, but also might just be a conspiracy theory I've cooked up, so put your tinfoil hats on. A lot of this show features characters in stealth mode, which means their faces are covered by balaclavas. I wonder, is this some sort of tricky reasoning as to not have to animate so many mouth flaps? I could be wrong, it's just something that hit me. Ultimately though, I did enjoy finally getting to see these episodes. I'm excited to see where the show is going to go in the future, and if you are a fan who has been waiting and holding out hope all this time, I don't think you're going to be disappointed.